Today we're back with another segment of Prison Chronicles. We got a very special segment today where we have mothers that's going to speak about their children being lost to prison systems and things like that. And we're going to let them speak about how they felt and things like that. So again, I'm De Niro Cook, and here's another segment of Prison Chronicles. And remember, if you have any brothers or sisters, parents, kids, spouses, ex-officers, anything that want to come be on the show and speak about their situation and their from their vantage point of prison, remember the number is 501-551-8489. Remember to follow me on YouTube, De Niro Cook. Press the like and share button and subscribe, and make sure you share these videos because we can't be heard without you helping us get out there. Well, let's start off by letting these beautiful women introduce themselves, and we'll get it started from like that.
I'm Tasha Nooner. I have a lot of kids. I'm local here to Little Rock, and I'm just happy to be here.
I'm Kay Morgan. I've raised a lot of kids along with my own 3 children, and I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak on behalf of the people at the Correction Department.
We're glad to have you.
I'm Phyllis Porter Edmondson, and I've recently returned to Little Rock after being in Atlanta for 31 years, returned 2 years ago, and I'm here to talk about my experience with having 2 nephews and 2 sons that were once a part of the prison system, a nephew that still is.
Hi, I'm Paula Porter. I'm De Niro Cook's mother, and I'm here to talk about the experience with him and my oldest son that's still incarcerated, Keanu Cook.
Okay, and we're gonna start off like this. And it's no particular order, and be yourself, loosen up, be yourself. But it's no particular order where you have to answer these questions. But like, for instance, she can be talking and she can say something that triggers a recollection in your mind or a nostalgia where, bam, you can remember the subject with her. But I'm gonna start off with this first question. Any one of y'all can answer it, but we're gonna give all y'all a chance to answer it. But what was the age that your child was when he first went down, if you can remember that?
My son was 15.
Do you remember how much he was sentenced to?
30 years on the Y.
Do you know how much time that means? How much you got to do?
On 30 on the Y, you got to do, I think, 70%.
Yep, that's 21 years. That's right. It's 21 years going down at the age of 15.
Yep.
70%, 30 years. That's 21 years to the door.
Yep. And my son was 15 also. He turned 16 here at the county jail, and I made his bond, so I knew that I was going to lose him to the system. Felt him hard.
And how long had Twan been down?
Twan was given 12 under the Y.
Yeah, but he caught that time.
So he went, while he was there, they shipped him to Calico Rock. They gave him another 10 years under a B. But when they got him back to the unit, they changed it to day to day. From day to day.
That put him on 100%?
On a 10-year sentence. This was my son's first time ever getting in trouble with the law.
See, back then, it was a way in the system where if blacks got in trouble, they ship you to not only as far away from your house as they possibly could, but they were sending you to units where you was uncomfortable, where blacks was getting shipped to Calico Rock, which is up there in the hills where, by Harrison, Arkansas and all that. So you are in it, the racism, that tension that was so high then. So
exactly.
With going to Calico Rock, we was on the oath back in the days in prison where together we was all like, if we get shipped to Calico Rock, man, we start on a ride, and so you gonna ship us to the max. But, they was trying to punish you up there. You get caught with a cigarette. If you caught anything you do in a violation, they was taking you to free work court. And there wasn't no win with that. So that's what your son got caught up in.
Right.
Well, we didn't go to Calico Rock. My son went to Varner, but at 15, they call it Varner the Gladiator School.
Yeah.
So when he got there, he was going out on the street. Everybody thought my son was Jermaine Taylor's son. He kind of looked like Jermaine Taylor, but he most definitely fight like Jermaine Taylor.
You sure
so
that wasn't his?
So they kept putting him in the unit with people that he knew that he was gonna end up fighting with, like the homosexuals. He have a big thing with it. I'm a man, my mama raised a man, and you're not gonna take my manhood. So he would beat them up, and then they would throw him in the hole.
Hold on. So, I mean, you not in there, so you won't be able to answer from his point of view. So, is he fighting homosexuals?
Yeah.
That ain't real. I'm saying, I just can't see that. A straight dude just fighting homosexuals. You know, I understand, you know, the homophobic behind being in prison, but you ain't, I mean, you know, being locked up so long, you ain't scared of homosexuals no more.
Well, this is when he first went.
I mean,
when
when you
first,
saying homosexuals, you ain't talking about the dudes who X chromosomes dumb it. You ain't talking about the faggots. You talking about the booty dogs.
yeah.
All right. I mean, they wasn't on his his road.
What that mean?
The booty dogs.
Yeah.
A booty dog.
Yeah, I
A
want to
nigga gonna hunt you. A nigga that won't.
on what he was fighting for his man.
Man, he wasn't putting in them situations like that.
You don't
He
know
said
that.
they kept, because, okay, now my son played too much.
I mean, I can see that.
He played too much. Like, he said, y'all gonna put me in this situation, I'm not supposed to be here because I'm a kid. And the grown men that got him in the situation, they never did a day. They didn't even go to the county. But so when he got down there, he looking at these female guards, he looking at these grown people, and he having to figure out as a 15-year-old how I'm supposed to come.
What year did he go down?
He went in 2011.
Oh, see, nah. See, he went down with a complex. He went down with a complex already with the mentality thinking that prison like this, so I'm finna be like this. Whole time, 2011, in every barracks, you got a hotline, a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week hotline on the wall. You can just call, man, this officer did this, or dude looking at me this way. You getting locked up on investigation by internal affairs. So he just had a complex, because that stuff ain't
And
going
I'm
on.
sure.
If somebody in the opinion right now, and he getting hunched and stuff, that's his choice. Cause that ain't happening no more. He had a complex.
But the thing about it though is, how do you know that? Cause you not there. Because even with it being 2011 or whatever.
I was there in 2011.
But I'm saying every prison is different. So
all
how do
of one
you
and the same.
know?
In
But how
every
old were
prison.
But you don't know
I went
that.
down to 18.
You wasn't there.
He 15, and
I'm saying-
he came from
Her son went down at 15.
But he came from a mama with no daddies, no uncles,
Your
no
son
brothers.
your son is
He
from
ca-
Little Rock. Your son was. I don't care what he's saying. No mamas, no brother. Hold up. So he said no mamas, no brother. I mean,
no daddies, no brothers, no uncles.
so was he kind of switching and whatever?
No, he wasn't switchy at
Well,
all.
then, I'm
was
talking
just-
he from Little Rock, nigga. We
And
ain't
I
going.
get what you say.
We ain't finna let that boy go like that.
Well, now they let him go like that. I'm telling you, the grown men that I trusted that told me they wanted to mentor him, because my son was cold in athletics. Period.
When I say go, I'm talking about in prison. All us from Little Rock, your son come down here. Hey man, let me what you. Somebody know him. Your son did not go to prison without knowing somebody. Somebody in there know your son.
Yeah, they call him Jermaine Taylor. I'm telling you, he was down there leading the fiend.
Before my son went, he was being trained, I think, by the same guy that was training Jermaine Taylor. My son could have been walking Jermaine's shoes
Yeah.
if he would have not gotten in trouble.
my
And
boy.
because of, they said, you know, the power that they used when he hit the officer, it broke his ribs. And so therefore, when he went for the board last year, they said because of, you know, what he had did, they wasn't ready to release him. By then, he was 17 years old.
Wow. What's insane about my boy is we have never got to go before the board, because when we went to court, I got punked so bad. We got punked so bad by the system. It was ridiculous. Like, I couldn't afford no attorney. I had 6 kids I was raising then, and then I had 2 grandkids. No, I have 4 grandkids already. So I couldn't afford no lawyer. So I was really dependent on the public defenders. They was coming to my house and talking to me, and I'm talking about they sold me a boatload.
But
of
you didn't deal with Tom Devine, did you? Cause he was a white man in a devil's body.
This was a white lady in the devil body, and she sent a black lady to me. That's what's crazy. She sent a black lady to me to get close. She came over there bringing gifts to my kids, and so now I'm thinking that these people are really on my side. We get back there in their room, and they said, the prosecutor said, if your mama get on the stand, we giving you life. And she been winning all her cases. So I think you need to take, I'm sure the judge is not gonna do this or that. And so then they read you, they tell you what you're gonna do. So yeah, we got, I mean, I was scared to death. I didn't think I was gonna ever see my son again because I didn't know, number one, that life don't really mean life. In some cases, life really don't mean life. So he would have been better off getting life. So they told me, they said, well, if you go in front of the judge and you tell the judge this A, B, C, D, and then this is what you have to say. So they then ran down what the judge had to say. And they was like, if you say anything against what we're saying right now back here in this room, then the deal is off and now they're going to go for life. Scared me to death.
Well, you know,
I was scared to death.
I had an experience like that when my son's name was first going through. I was working at Kroger on Kavanaugh Beechwood, and Tom Devine was my oldest son's public defender. And this man came to my job, and what happened was, this was when my oldest son was just getting ready to go to trial. So this was on a week, I think maybe a Thursday or Friday. And I was at work, and I was working, and this man, this white man, came to my job, took me outside, and he had a picture. This is something I'll never forget. This man went to a cemetery and took a picture of headstones and come to my job, and I was outside. He had me outside, and I'll never forget. He said, if you don't tell your son to take the plea, then if they find him or charge him with capital murder, he's gonna end up here. Then that's what he showed me. And I remember just as well, and let me tell you how good God is before we get there. So I wasn't able to talk to my son because somehow they had flipped it where they put him in the hole. So therefore, when he in the hole, that means he can't call me, no communication. And I didn't know what to tell him, So Tom Devine was like, well, if you don't tell him, I say, no, I'm not going to tell him. I say, whatever his decision is, I'm going to stand behind him. So if he decides to take the plea, then I'll stand behind him. But I'm not going to make that decision for him, and I'm not going to tell him. So just so happens, I don't know, well, I say it was God. The phone rang during the day that Sunday. Hadn't too long got home from church. And I heard this voice on the other line, and it was my son. And he was telling me the same thing that Tom Devine did to me, that's what he did to my son. And he said, but he told him, he said, well, Mama, he told me that you told him to tell me to take the plea. He said, but I told him no, because I wasn't going to make that decision until I talked to my mama. Just so happens at that time, it's a few guards there that's okay, and then it's a lot of them that's not. It's some bad apples. And we got a chance to talk, and I told him, I said, well, whatever decision you make, I'm going to stand behind you. So it didn't really make any difference, but the jurors wouldn't have been able to see that he was remorse and everything, because they wanted to make it seem like that my son was just so heartless and monster and stuff. Like, listen, it's some black folks, but these white folk, I don't care what you say, they devils.
Yeah.
Straight from
They devils. I don't trust them.
It's been revealed.
Yeah,
They showed themselves.
Yes, they are.
They
came straight from Satan's grandpa.
Well, I ain't gonna just let that ride and say these white people, because you still got some good ones, period. And I mean, it just, because when you look at the judicial system and stuff like that, even what's going on in the legislature, in all the branches, you forget whether it's Republican or Democratic and things like that. You got people that have sold their souls for the amount of money. Like when it comes to the prison system, when it comes to the parole boards and things like that. Look, when I went up for parole and dude told us, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm like, hey, y'all, be quiet, be quiet. He said, at first I wasn't gonna say nothing. We had a parole hearing. He said, I'm like, hey, y'all, be quiet. I'm looking in the guy's face. He said, at first I wasn't gonna say nothing, but that guy y'all killed, that was my next
neighbor.
door neighbor.
I was there.
Sure
I watched that little girl raise that little boy
I was
all
there.
by herself. Like, man, why you even in here?
Right,
Then
right.
they gave me another 2-year denial. Then they tried to right their wrong, put me up 2 months later, put another black man up there, and his voice ain't gonna count.
Yeah.
They done fired him too.
That's right.
But his voice ain't gonna count because, not saying that he didn't care, but you sold your soul for $85,000 a year anyway. I don't care what your crime is when you go for parole. So by the time Swan and all them go for parole, how did this person hear? Or this guy tell them, I mean, it ain't such thing or whether this person gonna help you, whatever, just ride the system out, just ride the wave because these people sold their soul for $85,000 a year. They gonna let them go when they want them, let them go because right now they getting money for the bed space that he taking up, and until they got for sure the next person coming in to take his bed up, they gonna hold him. But back to finish this. Aunt Phyllis, this my auntie y'all. Aunt Phyllis, can you elaborate or can you remember what age your sons was when they went to prison? If you can't, just give a
I can. My middle son was 32, and I think he spent almost 2 years.
David went down at 32.
About 32.
Boy, what you doing that
Well, he was.
that old?
It was a situation where he was
Nigga.
hanging out. He was hanging out with some of his.
You shoulda learned your lesson from us,
Sator,
32.
You know how he likes to drink. So he was hanging out with these homies of his in this certain area on the tree every day, getting him his drink on.
Oh, he a little young shade tree. Look, ain't even a mechanic. Nigga, what you doing?
He didn't smoke marijuana, but he liked to drink. And so he would tell me about this guy who was bigger than he was, but they were about the same height. And so, you know, Davian is a skinny guy. And so he told me this guy was always bothering him for no reason, just had a dislike for him. And so, you know, Davian had gotten a little bit tired of it, and he told me about it. I said, well, Dave, what you're going to have to do is stay away from there. Stop hanging out there. And he'd just gotten hired with a really prominent company, and he was just about to make his probation. No, his first 2 weeks it was his probation period. He was just about to make it, about to get his package and everything. I had a dream on a Monday night that Davian shot somebody. I had a dream. And so Tuesday, I was intending to go by his bedroom, and say, Dave, don't hang out over there no more. You need to stop going over there because I had this dream. Well, I was at home after work Tuesday, and my daughter was there, and I heard bam, bam, bam on the door like the police, and went down and I answered the door, and it was Davion. I said, Davion, what's the matter with you? He was crying. He said, I had to shoot that so-and-so. I didn't want to, but he kept mumbling. He just been bothering me. I said, didn't I tell you not to hang out there anymore? So I said, did you kill him? He said, no. So I said, where's the gun? He gave me the gun. So I said, well, we've got to go to the sheriff department. We got to go, and you got to turn yourself in. So I had the gun, and then I looked up. It was hundreds of police, I say 100, coming into our cul-de-sac. And so I'm like, oh my God. And I had the gun, and the police, several of them got out of their cars, you know, a couple of them with their hands on their weapon or whatever. And so this one, I guess he must have been lead police, he said, is this the home of Davian Ricks? I said, yes, sir, I'm his mother. I said, I know what has happened. I said, we were getting ready to come to the sheriff department, and Davian came out like this with his hands up, and he just kind of laid out on the ground, and I told the police, I have the gun here, so I gave it to him. He said, well, thank you, ma'am. He said, I really think your son's a good guy, he said, because he could have killed this guy, but he didn't. Well, Davian was intimidated by the guy, and he was just more or less trying to defend himself, because that evening this guy started on him. So he just got his weapon and popped him twice in the leg, he said. But he was 32, and Aaron was 18.
Okay. Well, we'll be right back after a short commercial break. And before we go to this commercial break, I want to say to my Aunt Phyllis and her son Davion, boy, you went to your mama crying like that. We'll be right back after a short commercial break. Well, we back from our short commercial break, and I want to go back to Paula Porter. Hold your head up, man. It's fun. No, but I want to ask you, give you a chance to speak on about what was the age of. Ooh. Do you remember my age and Buck age when we first went? That's my mama, y'all. Her mean self. But can you remember what the me and Buck age was? When you first went there?
It kind of, sort of, because you got to remember that at the time when all this happened, I was not only going to court with my sons, you know, I ended up having to sit in 4 trials.
We talking about the age when we first went there.
I know that, but so I'm just saying.
Get to that at?
So maybe, listen now.
I'm just saying, you on fire?
She trying to come around. Man. She coming around by Dallas. She getting that over.
I think, I want to say Tori was 15. I want to say you was...
He wasn't no 15.
Okay, well, whatever. And I want to say you was 18, 19, and Buck was 20. And I think the charges was capital murder and theft of property. I think that's what it was. And I know this question hadn't been asked, but I think out of all the times that they all have been incarcerated, I think I've been to about 12 prisons. 12, 13, am I right or wrong?
I got transferred 15 times.
Well, I mean, I'm saying with you and Bub, I thought it was okay. Well,
all right, well, we're gonna move right along.
And, move right along,
y'all see my mama alone with it. She's at church.
Yeah, I just need to say something real fast. So I was listening to all of the charges, all of, that's been said so far. My son went down at 15 for aggravated robbery. They didn't have no gun. He was 15, he don't have no car. These places was way far out. Even one of the grown men pushed my son out of the car and he killed himself. He ran into a light pole and died. And nothing has ever been brought up.
Well, at the same time, your son still escaped the crunch then. Because, if me and you do a crime together, like you saying, whether, with your son and old boy doing the charge, and I die in the midst of us doing this crime, or even getting away, in the act of getting away, you get the murder charge.
Well, yeah, it wasn't, he pushed my son out the car. He pushed my son out the car.
Just save your son's life.
Well, no, my son could have died too. He wasn't trying to kill himself.
Well, he right.
But my son was sitting in the car the whole time. But he never even went inside the building.
But he right though, because even with the charges that they already had with my oldest son, they tried to pin.
I mean, that's how it is
they tried to pin this robbery charge on him, where this little store, whatnot place, whatever, across from Robinson Mortuary on Martin Luther King. They said that they tried to put a charge against him with that, with the little old lady. At the time, me and him was both working at Frankie's Cafeteria, and although that they had got his schedule showing that he was at work, they still tried to
I
pin
mean,
it.
that's how
pin
it is
that
though.
on
Like
him.
if I get locked up on a
Can I
charge,
finish, please?
But
Then it was another one where you remember when Soul
Superman.
Brothers got robbed and he got shot. They tried to pin that on him too. But what they did was they brought him to the trial at the time. So they were trying to make him say that my son had shot, and he kept saying no, he's not the one that did it. And then with the charge with the little whatnot place, the reason why they couldn't continue to hold that on him, because the little lady died. That's the only reason why. It was a little old white lady. And I'm not just throwing it out there because of her color, but it was a little old white lady. And they convinced her that he was the one that did it. So if the woman wouldn't have died, they would have still held that charge against him. But that's what they do.
you know, when you get locked up on a certain, like if I get locked up on a charge, aggravated robbery, and they got a few more aggravated robberies that's unsolved, they're gonna pin them on me. I might not get convicted though, but they're just gonna put them on just to, you know what I'm saying? But
That's how it is.
it's just how it is.
But they just show you how the system is.
Exactly.
But we're gonna move right
not
along.
for
We're gonna
us.
move right along
Yeah,
though.
move right along.
Second. Hey, do you remember the exact thing, if you can recollect the exact thing, the exact moment in time what you was doing when you first heard that your child got locked up or charged with what he was charged for? Do you remember the exact thing that you were doing?
Exactly what I was doing. I was changing him from McClellan to Seven Hills in North Little Rock. The day that I changed their schools, I got a call that my son was running through Wakefield Elementary Park and the police had just surrounded him.
How did that make you feel?
It disgusted me because before I left, I had just told him, y'all get up, do your yard, let's get things straight, because I was getting them registered for school. Let's get things straight. He was mad at me, Banner was mad at me, because I was changing them from Little Rock School District to North Little Rock. So that's exactly what I was doing. When I got back, I found out the details. One of his older friends had picked him up, took him to the location down the street here, dropped him off and kept going. So he ran right back by his car and he kept going. And he the one went and got him and took him down there and told him about it. Yep, and he was 15 years old, a 28-year-old man when he got my child and did this.
What was you doing? Do you know what you was doing?
Exactly what I was doing. Had moved to Ludwig. That was the worst mistake I could have ever made. I was sitting in the living room holding the baby, and then I heard my youngest son run and say something, and then my son, he ran in the house and ran in his room, and the next thing I know, my yard was full of police, and I went outside to see what was going on. And it was an officer that I had kind of dealt with before. And he was like, I need you to trust me and let me come in and search your house. Search my house for what? He was like, your son was just running and I know what he did. And I know what he been doing. I said, well, tell me what he did and what he's been doing. I need you to let me go in and search your house. I said, well, I don't have no problem with you searching my house. I just need to know what you're gonna be looking for. So it turned into a white woman going in to search my son's room. And it's so funny because she walked in the room. She didn't go in no other parts of the house. She walked directly in his room and moved a shirt, and there was some money balled up. No other part of the house.
She must have already.
It's like they knew exactly where they were going.
They must have.
No, because my son was standing right there with me.
It's like they knew exactly
My
where they were
son,
going.
my son was standing right there with me. She walked. How would they even know where their room was? Number one, because the way my house was, it's like it was bedrooms on this side of the house, and then you go through the kitchen and you go down the stairs. It's the laundry room, and it's another little utility room, and that's where he had made his bedroom. She walked directly in the room, And you know how boys sometimes keep their room. So I didn't even go down there. She went and she moved a shirt, and it was a wad of money. And I'm looking like, but now me and the black officer, we've been talking this whole time. I don't even know where this woman came from. I don't know where she came from. But me and this officer, he been holding my attention the whole time. And my son was standing right there beside me. So I know he haven't talked to nobody. So she went and moved that shirt. She got the money. And then they arrested him right there. Of course, I went and bonded him out. And they used my cousin, who was a police at the time, to come and get him. Nobody told me nothing. She would say, well, cousin, follow me down here because, you know, you need to be there. He's only 15. They probably gonna railroad him. You know, I don't know nothing. But you know how it just always works out funny because her son went through the same exact thing. I said,
Aunt Phyllis, do you remember what you was doing? The exact thing when you heard that any one of your sons, did you heard?
Well, she
I know
already told
you
that
just
story.
already
I
spoke
told
about
you.
David, but what
David.
about
I was at home.
when Biggie went down?
Yeah, he was there. Police came and got him.
Yeah, I always came back to Mama. Mama, do you remember what you was doing?
I vaguely remember. I want to say at that time I was at the daycare center down at Greater Charity, cause you know I was going down there. I was going down there every day, and I want to say that I was in the kitchen washing dishes. But when I finally did hear about it, I was just hollering and screaming. Cause I just know how I felt like I had raised my kids, my sons and my daughter. And if somebody would have asked me what I would have thought, I wouldn't have never thought that. And when I heard that, it's like I lost it. I was just hollering and screaming. And that's something I'll never forget.
Well, let me ask y'all this question here. Being that y'all are mothers and knowing that you raise your sons and daughters a certain way and probably the best that you probably could, when your sons and daughters choose to make their own mistakes and choose their own path to go down and ultimately it led to incarceration or doing devious acts and stuff, did y'all tend to question y'all motherhood? Do y'all ever feel that y'all failed as a parent?
I do all the time.
I did.
I do all the time.
I feel like I did in certain areas because
Right.
like I said, I raised other children, and my children felt like my daughters was feeling like I was depriving them of being there for them, you know. But I couldn't let the other children get lost in the cracks of the society. That's what I was fighting for, to keep my nieces and nephews together as a family. And I knew that my mom couldn't do it because she was getting older. My father didn't want no extra children. So I was like, well, I'm going to keep these kids, you know. But my daughter used to say all the time, well, Mama, when is it just going to be us, you know? And so regardless of what I was going through as far as with my family, their moms or whatever, my heart was still saying, keep these kids together. You know, I can't let them go. I would be more worried knowing that they're out there in foster homes or in, you know, different facilities that when they got aunties and uncles that can be there for them, you know. So like when the stuff just started happening, I was so busy trying to keep my nephews out of jail, I was overlooking my own, you know.
Even though all this time has passed, you don't feel like that now though, do you?
No.
So
no.
so that was
That was just then. I felt like I deprived them, you know. I feel like if I would have been there, if I just gave the rest of them kids away, I could have been more of a mother to him.
Yeah.
You know, but that is not in my heart.
Well,
You feel like that?
I don't, because I've done the best that I possibly could raising my children in the church and had God-fearing parent, mother and father. But my baby son, in spite of me raising him as I did the other three children, the fact that he was It was rebellion, but he was rejected by his father. And it went real deep with him. And it started when he was pre-K, 4 years old, that he started acting out. And I noticed it early on, so I had the teachers to evaluate him because he was out of control. And they came up with the fact that he had some issues going on, ADD, something. They're going to label him anyway. But anyway, so they did an IEP for him and all, but regardless of what I tried to do, I couldn't turn him around. I couldn't talk to him to turn around. Turn him around. His dad did so much in the face rejection to him. He said so much to him. And, you know, physically at times I felt like abused him when training him, potty training him, that kind of thing. And so I've just not been able to turn him around. He's 39, he seems to be doing better, but he's still got, you know, he's real hot-headed. And, you know, but talking to him now and watching him, I can see the changes and I can see his sadness and how sorry he is for his former behavior. And he tries to show me that he's changed by certain things that he does. You know, he's living on his own now, and he does music and he's pretty good at it, doing real good, and he's driving his car and living in his apartment. He's doing good. But he's still got a ways to go because I see him still, you know, sort of quick-tempered or whatever. But I just pray for him, and that's all we can do. Keep him before God, pray for him, and keep talking.
Well, Mama, do you feel that you fail as a parent?
I don't know sometimes.
I don't know why.
I'm just saying with my kids, I don't know, because I think I tried to give my kids as much as I could give them. I mean, you know, you can't use that as an excuse that you got 4 kids and you're a single parent, because you still can grind and grind. But I noticed that it was some things that some other kids had that my kids didn't have, and like the video games and all that, they were like a year behind the other kids.
We ain't trip. We stayed up to date.
But my kids,
we coming to get it. Your kid got it. We
I
coming to get
did.
it.
I felt like I could have did a little bit. I could have did a little bit better. Yeah, cause I was just hearing like.
I mean, you buy us a video game and you get one game to play. We coming there 2-3 days later.
Of course, yeah. You know,
I'm gonna speak right now on from, you know, like even the question that I just asked y'all. You know, I'm gonna tell you from a point of view from a child that's being in prison, what we think. First of all, I'm gonna speak on 2 things. I'm gonna look in this camera and tell these women in this world, stop having these kids if you ain't got the energy to provide them. And if you ain't got the means to take care of them, and because we already know we're bringing these children up in materialistic ages, so that ain't gonna do no make the crime rate grow up, because the older they get, the more expensive they become, and you can't provide for 6, 7, 8 kids. So the kids, you know what I'm saying, that you was once putting energy in, showing, don't my baby look good? Look how my baby dressed. You ain't able to sustain that throughout the growth of his life, because you got other kids that's under him, and he more expensive, so he finna go out and get it by any means necessary, and he ain't letting you know, and some stuff you know, and you condoning it because he probably helping you, but at the same time the crime rate going up because he out here doing what he got to do, and he taking a chance because he's throwing stones at the penitentiary, taking a chance of being removed from your life. But another thing, we sit in prison and we trying to do what we can to hurry up and get out to our mothers, because you know, when I left the streets, my mama was 37 years old.
Oh, I was.
He was 37 years old. I got out at 36, finna turn 37, the same age. So you know, and you sitting there and your main goal is to get out before your mothers now leave this earth, before your aunties, uncles, granddaddies, grandmas. You want to get back out to them and show them that they did do some good parenting. My mistakes is what ultimately led me here. You didn't do no wrong, mama. You didn't do no wrong, auntie, uncle, grandma. But I had my own choices, and I had to set the consequences due to my own actions. So all the mothers that have lost children to prison and you questioning yourself, don't do that. You know, you can't get your child to heaven or hell. So that's just how it is. But I'm I'm gonna give you an opportunity to speak on that. What we just asked her.
But yeah, it kind of made me emotional. I feel super guilty pretty much all the time because, like you said, you know, I was a young mom. I didn't have I was married, but my husband had left. And so I was just raising the kids on my own. I was out there trying to grind, but it seemed like every time I would go to work, somebody would get in trouble. I would have to leave work, or I would have to have my oldest daughter to keep the younger kids while I went to work because I didn't have a support system. Like, I didn't have that family structure that most people have. My kids didn't have that. You know, we had my big mama, but she was older and she was tired of, you know, she had raised her kids. And so, I guess my main guilt is because I feel like, number one, I got punked by the system. And then I feel like I should have been able to do more. I should have been able to maybe be able to afford an attorney. But it was all I could do to keep the lights on and clothes on their backs. And God in heaven knows I would never let my kids just knowingly go out here and do some harm or do some damage like that. These grown men told me that they had reputable companies and that they had my son out here. One of them had a lawn service, the other had a car lot. They was telling me that that's how he was making his money. God in heaven knows, if I had known that they had my son being a lookout for them, there is no way in. And one of them, to this day, I went in Walmart and he had the audacity to come up and speak to me. I tried to tear Walmart up. Thank God for security. Because don't play with me. I mean, you've taken my son's whole childhood because you want to be out here on some crackhead stuff. And now my son is sitting down here, then spent his whole life, and I haven't even been able to see him. I have not seen my son one time in 9 years.
You know they got a video visit now.
They have to approve my his list because he just got on the program so that he could get on the list.
Well, let me say this. Well, you know, because of the God that I serve, that's why I can't hate, because I can't get to heaven hating people. But if I could, I probably would, because he did all them years for nothing. They only come after him because they found out that what happened was because of my oldest son, but they went after all of my sons, him and my baby boy, because it happened while they were working. So they went after all of my children. That's why I said that I sat in 4 hearings, because it was not only my 3 sons, it was one of the other young men. And that was hard, but I could feel the way I feel, but I can't. Because, see, after this is another life. And I ain't got to give an account. You know, because I could hate, but I don't. Because one thing I know, and 2 things for sure, when it's all said and done, you're going to reap what you sow.
That's right, it's coming back.
And like I said, and my son did 20 years for something he didn't even do, just because he was associated and because he was the brother of my son.
That's how my son is. When we were sitting in court, when they made me, I couldn't even come in the courtroom no more because I was supposed to testify. So they sent me out in the hallway. So I'm out in the hallway, and there's a whole group of people, and the prosecutor and one of the witnesses, one of the officers, they're down there, and she went off. I'm talking about red in the face. You pointed to the wrong person. That is not him. You know, so I'm sitting in the hallway looking at her like, so you basically just let me know that you railroaded my son. And I can't say nothing, because if I say something, then it's going to be worse for him.
Of course. That's the same way they did me with my oldest son. We had already discussed him testifying on his behalf because they wanted to make it seem like he was a monster and stuff. And they wanted me to tell him not to testify, but I told him, if that's what he feel he need to do, let him do it, because y'all making it, you know, the prosecuting attorney making it seem like he is a monster, and he's not a monster. Not regardless of what my son's done to this day, my sons and them are kind-hearted men. From children.
But at the same time, everybody, I know every mama, every son, dad probably feel that way about their kids. But at the same time,
Well, now you know
But
your
no,
child.
it's
Cause
still
you
another.
know-
You know
I
your
mean,
child.
you know the part that come home.
No.
You don't know what a person doing out in these streets. You don't
know
know
your
what he
child.
faced with. You don't know what the streets raising too.
I don't care what nobody say. You know what your child will do. You know what your child is
No,
capable
you don't.
of.
No,
You
you
know what
don't.
your child is capable of.
I'm
I
saying-
my
You know
old
what your
boy-
son gonna
I know
reveal
my
to
son
you.
to go out here and rob you. I know my
Oh, well,
son.
you know that then.
I know
I'm
my
thinking-
son to go out here and sell some dope before he go home.
see,
I know my kids.
Years ago, never say what your children want to do.
For sure, yeah.
Because as soon as we turn our backs, there'll be another person. You
Man, look,
know.
my mama used to lock us in the house. Don't y'all go nowhere. Don't y'all.
Boy,
Well,
don't tell nobody that.
get a scan. As soon as my mama leave, the whole hood be in the house. I'm talking about all the windows they can raise up deep. Man, it's Tans, and it's somebody always, hey, here come y'all mama. Dang, what's she coming back for? Man, the whole house full of everybody in the closets. All the closets full, people under the beds, everything, everybody playing their part. Man, we just snuck bikes out through the window. As soon as mama go in the bathroom or go in the room, that's all you hear. Dang, nigga, you ain't have to run that fast. Be quiet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Shoot.
But you already know though if I caught it, what was gonna happen.
We don't know.
But the thing about it though is
Get her. She.
when he asked a question, that's why sometimes I did blame myself because, you know, there were times when I was going to bingo, just putting it out there. That was when bingo was illegal, but it's legal now. But
You
I
was illegal that whole all that time?
yeah, it was illegal. But that money we was
Them
winning,
big old buildings? Oh, we don't trip. Don't make no excuse about going to bingo. We used to love when you go to bingo. Boy, we was free. We was free, boy.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Are we still taping?
Yeah.
On a serious note, though, you know, I was in Atlanta, but when all this happened, but my heart was very heavy for her. Thinking about the fact that she had 3 sons, and I'm going back there now in my spirit because I know what I felt at that time. I felt for my whole family back here, and I happened to come to the city at some point when they were in court. And it was just so depressing to see your family going through that because our family's a good family. We had a great father, great mother. We have great family members throughout the city of Little Rock. And for them to be going through that and for her to go through it, what I was about to initially say, that's a whole lot for a mother.
Yeah, there was a time we were
Because
part.
what
All
won't-
3 of her boys got locked
Yes,
up. Nisha,
Because
she
what,
didn't have a boy left out here.
what won't kill you will definitely make you stronger.
I'm gonna tell you, like,
That's
you
exactly
sitting in
what
prison.
it
Like, I
is.
remember when this stuff first happened. You know, you don't want to tell mama, you know, Buck did this, you know, things like that. But you know, you gotta protect him. You know, dealing with. But then you gotta lie to mama. So at the time when they locked him up, you know, it's the night of my prom. Mama pulled up at her Gwen house and Tori say, hey, mama here. Like, dang. So mama get out of the car, she do this cry that only she got. Why y'all didn't tell me? Why? You know, like that. You know, she got this cry that, I mean, it's just, it resonates in your mind throughout all the years. But we gonna, you know, we're gonna let these women dry their tears because I think they kind of soft little pancakes in them. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll be right back after a short commercial break. And remember, hit us up at 501-551-8489 if you got any mothers, children, daughters, sons, spouses, ex-officers that want to be on the show and tell your story. We got many seconds to come, and we'll be right back.
But my husband shot and killed himself. He laid across my legs and killed himself. Wow. Okay? Those 3 boys that I raised, Gary, John, and Twan, they took turns blowing into his mouth, trying to keep him there till the paramedics made it there. He left anyway. In between that time, while dealing with, you know, the death of my husband, I'm trying to keep my children happy because at the time I had 5, 3 of my own and 2 boys. So I'm trying to keep them on the right track, keep them happy, trying to make sure that there wasn't nothing that they needed. Because I was a working mom, I'm a worker. I can't work anymore though. But I'm trying to make sure there is nothing that these kids need to go out there and do. Don't go get in no trouble, none. My daughter wasn't coping with it well. After she go to school one day, an officer by the name of Officer Kelly. Now this was me as a mother. I go get all of my children once a week. One week may be Vannas, the next week may be Twins. I'm going to get them and take them out for lunch. We're going to, before I go to work, I'm going to take one of those children out for lunch that day of the week. So this particular day was Vanna's day to go to lunch. I called, I said, listen, I'm running behind. I'm getting off late, but I will be there. Let them know. Do not make you go to the cafeteria at Cloverdale. I'll be there to pick you up for lunch. Did you? You may remember me. I told the officer up.
You told the officer?
Tore it up, tried to tear their ass up.
She admitted to it. Come get her.
I did it.
Come get her.
And they know I did it. I told that officer
What year were you there? Because my daughter tore the school up.
Yeah.
And your daughter, what's your daughter? Come get her.
I was there in like 84, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
No.
Okay, they was.
No, we
this was
weren't
in 99.
Mr. Boone used to be the principal there when
Okay.
I was there.
He committed suicide in 98. So it was a few months afterwards because I was trying to keep my kids on the right track, trying to spend time with them and give them what they needed. Went up there, they told me they done took my daughter to juvenile. My child had never in her whole life spent the night away from home. Wow. Never. They took her to juvenile because they said, okay, she went to the office to call me because I wasn't there on time to pick her up for lunch. When she got up to the office, they told her that she could use the phone. She cursed. She only was 12. After she cursed, Officer Kelly took my baby, picked her up. He put her in handcuffs, picked her up by her neck, and he choked her so hard, his own nose started to bleed. So he threw her to the floor, took her shirt off her, and wiped his blood with her shirt. Okay, now the Little Rock Police Department did this. So they kept her the whole weekend. This first time I went crazy. I slept on the parking lot up there at the juvenile. Because I wasn't used to my babies being away. You know, my husband done killed himself. I need all my kids.
And they should have been had a little bit more sympathy.
They didn't care. So what they did, after they locked her up, and we went to court, I tried to sue the Little Rock Police Department, the Little Rock School District, and all of them. But what they did, they sent me through mediation. And they dropped the charges on my baby, but they made the Little Rock Officer Kelly write a letter saying the concerns and the importance of it to have a female officer while detaining an elementary or a junior high student.
Well, I want to know about you tearing up the school.
Because when I got to the school and they told me my child was gone, they took her to juvenile. And everybody, all the students was running telling me, Savannah got a big old knot on her head. They threw her to the floor. She had handcuffs on her and they threw her to the floor. So I went in there and I said, where's Officer Kelly? They said, he's going to the police station. I said, what you sent him down there for? I said, he needs to be talking to me. He done put his hand on my child. And then I said, what principal? And I think it was Mr. Fields in 99. It was Mr. Fields. I said, man, you mean to tell me y'all done put my baby in handcuffs and took her out? And I said, you know what my child is going through. She's trying to get over the death of her husband. They done watched their father die, and you gonna send my child through this? So I just reached over, I tried to put it on. I just tore their office up. I tore the chairs up. I tilted them over. No, he got away from me. He act like a real white man. But he got away from me, and they was like, if you don't leave, we're calling the police. I said, I want my baby. So I went to the juvenile. They had locked her up. I said, I'm not leaving these premises till y'all give me my baby. They would not release my child to me. So I had to wait till she went to court. But in the meantime, while they had her there, they had to transfer her from the juvenile to the hospital because she had a knot on the side of her head and the top of her face was so big. And they didn't, report none of this to the juvenile judge or none like that. But they want to, I think Judge Hale But I think, they just wanted to sweep it under the carpet. And I said, Judge, this isn't fair. He put my baby, she ain't but 12 years old. He took her shirt off her, wiped his nose with her shirt while she was in handcuffs. I had a list. I still have it. I still have my paperwork right now today for the mediation for Officer Kelly and against the Little Rock Police Department, against the Little Rock School District. I still got all of this stuff, every bit of it. I said, because I one day I want this right. I'm not going to give up on this.
It's going to be.
Yeah, they failed me. And then after that, they took the fact my child get in trouble. He go down there, and now John and Gary was already in jail, you know. Yeah. He get in trouble. I was like, dang.
Well, speaking of being in jail, and Mama asked about Savannah being like, we gonna let her. Find about Savannah later on when y'all exchange numbers. But I'ma see do y'all remember this. You know, I understand that like for instance, I know I did 18 months in the county jail before I even went to prison. So, you know, it's a different entity from prison and county jail. But even if you don't even recollect the prison, cause county jail count 2, you're still in bondage. But do you recollect your first moment visiting your child behind the glass or in prison? You know what I'm saying? How did you feel about that? You know what I'm saying?
It killed me. It killed my heart. Because my child had never been locked up a day in his life. And to see my baby behind that glass window, I wanted to get that thing down, you know? And I was like, Lord, I just need my child out of here. Then they had a $250,000 bond on him. I had to get an attorney to get it reduced. They reduced it to $120,000. And I said, these people is trying to take my child. And it was my heart. I was going crazy. I actually think that I lost it because I had dealt with my husband committing suicide.
And a part of you be gone, and you can't even word it what it is.
Exactly. I was going through so
much. I will never forget my first 2 years to now.
Yes.
I mean, I still can't tell you what it was.
Yeah, and I forget. I go somewhere and I forget everything I'm supposed to say. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, I said, Lord, it's like these people know what they're doing. So what they did, they moved everybody that I was using for my cases and everything. They was paying these people, relocating them, sending them to other states, you know. I was really losing it because I couldn't win the fight, I felt. And I had nobody to help me because, like, when he killed himself and I'm dealing with the loss of my children, I'm like, Lord, I don't have nobody. You know, I just got my babies.
Yeah.
How did you feel your first time visiting your child?
I haven't seen my son.
Oh, dang.
I haven't seen my son since we left court.
What's the reason why you ain't seen him?
Well, he was the fighting, put him in the hole, and he just got a class this year. And now COVID is up, so you can't go. And then,
but something going on, cause I can't believe that you say you haven't seen him in 9 years, right? That's a darn shame.
Yes.
I haven't seen him since we left court.
I mean, not put your business out there. I mean, you never been on the visitation list or nothing?
I was on the visitation list, and then I went down there for a visit, and they rejected me. I got down there, and the warden met me at the door and told them to make me leave.
What unit is he in?
Varner. And I don't drink. I don't smoke. I didn't go down there and cause any trouble. All I wanted to do was see my son.
And I know that's the first. I think that's.
Do you call? Do you make any calls?
I've called until I don't know who to call.
For you mothers out there.
You called the warden office?
It was the warden that came down there and told me.
No, I'm saying, have you called them back since?
Call the governor's office. That's where you started.
The judge that did this, it was his first year on the bench, and they said, this is what was told to me by
but
these
they
white
still
people.
can't.
They said he gonna try to make an example out of your son.
Okay, but that's still
that's a different entity. The judge ain't got
I got the whole different entity.
Right. So do you know if your child is still living?
Yeah, I talked to him. But like I said, y'all, this is my first time, my only time, and you can't fault me for what I don't know. I thought the warden was the person that I needed to speak to, but the warden down there, there's something wrong with him.
But this concludes another segment of Prison Chronicles, and we had a lot of things to heartfelt topics to speak on, and a lot of them we didn't make it to because time was permitted. But we will get back to you and we will finish up with this segment. And just before we ride out, I just want to know, let y'all know it was a emergency and an accident that occurred. Whereas I want to let y'all know COVID is real. So don't sleep on it. Continue to wear your mask, practice social distancing, and continue to wash your hands and follow the proper protocols. And I'm gonna give these women opportunity to speak before we ride on out. If you have anything you want to say about your child being locked up, you want to speak to any mother right now that have a child locked up, right now is your chance before we ride out.
I just want to say to the young moms that's going through with these disobedient and hard-headed kids, number one, show them in the Bible where the Lord tell you that a disobedient child, days are numbered upon the earth. That's first and foremost. They have to learn to trust in God with all their heart. They have to learn that no matter what nobody else out here say, they need a relationship for themselves, because just like De Niro said, we can't go down there for you. We can't walk your path for you. We can't live your life for you. Your decisions are your decisions. So the main thing is getting a relationship. Just steal away. Just steal away. Find yourself, because you're the only person that matters. I don't care what your friends say. It don't make you look weak to stay out the streets, because there's nothing out there for you. I came from Highland Court, and I'm gonna tell you, Highland Court, we learned early that the street don't love nobody. We had a saying back then, man, I don't give a fuck about me, so you know I don't give a fuck about you. So y'all just listen to your mamas, listen to your parents. I promise you, it sound bad, it look bad, you think they hard, but if they didn't care nothing about you, they wouldn't say nothing to you. Because I promise you, it's two ways to go, the gray or the pen.
Well, I'd like to say, as a God-fearing person, as a mother, as a neighbor, just as a human being, we definitely got to have more love for each other as a black race of people. We can't talk it, we have to walk it, we have to go back to being a village. Things are so bad with our children now, you can't correct them in a loving way.
The mama will beat you up.
So we've got to know that the word says if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. And so we can't be their friends. We've got to be their parent, because that's why God gave them to us, that we parent them. We're bringing them along for such a time as they'll become parent. And so if the world lasts that long, they're going to one day become parent, and they're going to have to know how to parent their children. Hopefully, they'll parent them in the way of God, fearing God, and teaching them the basic things that they need to know. Respect, number one, for family members that they're growing up with, their siblings, and then respect for those on the outside of our homes. That's the thing I believe that's really missing, respect for themselves, God, and others. And I want to say one last thing. If there's anybody out there who might have seen this Chronicles today, Prison Chronicles, we do have a remorsefulness or a concern for those who might have been victimized. We do, because we're loving people. Black people are loving people. Black people are caring people. They're not monsters, regardless to what you might think. They're not monsters. They're loving people. I know that because everybody that I was raised up with came from the same parent in my household. And we were taught, most of us are taught from babies, love, and care. So that for those that are out there that might believe for some reason or another you have to be mean to us and hard on us just because of the color of our skin, that's not true. We're loving people, and we want to love you, we want to respect you, but we require that same thing, because I think we would be less of people, less of human beings, if we allow you to just walk on over us and do us any kind of way. We're taking a stand for what God believes is right, for who God is in our lives. So we're remorseful for what might have happened to your loved ones. And hate it did. But there's a time that you've got to forgive. You know, there's a time. Ecclesiastes says that there's a time for all things. There's a time to cry, be sorrowful, but then there's a time to forgive. And let's move on as a human race.
All right, Mama, you got anything you want to say?
I don't have a whole lot because Tasha and Emerson and I already said enough. I just want to say, and we got to take back our homes as parents. You got these 7 and 8 and 9-year-old children, girls that you are allowing to wear all these different color braids in their hair down to the floor and stuff. These are children. I remember when I was coming up, I couldn't even wear stockings until I was, almost 15. You know, makeup and stuff like that. And stop letting your children run your house. You run your house. And the last thing I want to say is free Buck. Keanu, that's my oldest son. God bless y'all.
Time to love.
I thank y'all for being tuned in to this special segment of Prison Chronicles, where the mothers had the opportunity to speak out. And remember, if you're a mother, father, spouse, son, daughter, auntie, uncle, grandparent, whatever, if you want an opportunity to come on the show and let your voice be heard, remember the number is 501-551-8489. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube under Dinero Cook, and make sure you push the like and share button, because it's just that easy.
And ask for part 2. Request a part 2 with the mama.
Yeah. Bye.